Very good afternoon. You're watching the midday news on Rajya Sabha television. I'm Ashwarya Kapoor and here are the headlines. Prime Minister reaches out to political rivals on Twitter, urges them help increase voter participation in general elections next month. Also sends out tweets to newsmakers from sports, cinema and journalism. BJP strengthens alliance in the northeast, reforges pact with Assam Parishad. Meeting of Bihar Mahagathbandhan leaders over seat sharing slated later today. Congress President Rahul Gandhi addresses students in Chennai. DGCA grounds the Boeing 737 MAX 8 by 4 p.m. today, following Ethiopian airline plane crash that claimed 157 lives. Emergency meeting of all airlines this evening to prepare contingency plan to avoid inconvenience to passengers. All eyes on China as resolution to ban terrorist Masood Azhar comes up at the UN Human Rights Council meet today. Resolution against the mastermind behind terror attacks in India moved by the US, UK and France. And India and Australia play one-day series decider today at Firozshah Kotla. Series is levelled at 2-all. Match will be the last ODI for India before the World Cup in May. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has urged people to cast their votes in the upcoming Lok Sabha polls. In a series of tweets, PM Modi tagged politicians and celebrities from Bollywood and sports, urging them to help bring more people out to vote in the April-May national election. The Prime Minister tagged his political opponents, including Rahul Gandhi, Mamata Banerjee, Sharad Pawar, Mayawati, Akhilesh Yadav, Tejasvi Yadav and MK Stalin, and appealed to them to encourage increased voter participation in the elections. In a tweet, he said that a high turnout augurs well for our democratic fabric. And in another tweet, he tagged Telangana Chief Minister K. Chandrasekhar Rao, Odisha Chief Minister Naveen Patnaik, Karnataka Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy and YSR Congress leader Jagan Mohan Reddy, urging them to work towards bringing maximum Indians to the polling booths in the upcoming elections. May voter awareness efforts be strengthened across the length and breadth of India, he said. He also sent out tweets to young and veteran Bollywood stars using widely popular catchphrases from their blockbuster movies and asked them to motivate their fans to vote. Stars from regional cinema, including Mohanlal, were also tagged by the Prime Minister, apart from several media personnel and politicians. And NCP Chief Sharad Pawar has expressed confidence that the ruling BJP may come back at the centre for a second straight term. Sharad Pawar's comments came a day after he decided against contesting the Lok Sabha elections. The BJP had in 2014 general elections bagged 283 seats, enough to form government on its own. And the NDA alliance had scored 326 seats. Meanwhile, the BJP and Assam Parishad have decided to work together in the coming parliament election in Assam, with Bodoland People's Front as the third partner in the alliance. The AGP had pulled out of the alliance with the BJP over the contentious Citizenship Amendment Bill in January this year. In 2014, the BJP had won 7 out of 14 Lok Sabha seats in Assam. The Congress and the All India United Democratic Front have now 3 MPs each and 1 member is an independent.
In the coming parliamentary elections also, we 3 parties have decided to work together with the same purpose of defeating Congress party in the coming parliamentary elections also. The BJP, together with the Assam Parishad and Bodo People's Front, will contest the next parliament elections, which are due 1 month from now. We will together ensure that Congress party is defeated in all the 14 seats of the state, and we together win all these seats. We will work together and contest the elections jointly as an alliance. We are hoping that the senior ministers of AGP in the state government will resume their work as soon as possible, and the remaining details of the alliance regarding the seat sharing and all that, they will be worked out in next couple of days by the state leadership. State BJP, AGP leadership will sit and finalize the seat sharing arrangement.
And with less than 6 days left to start filing of nominations for the Lok Sabha elections, Congress Nationalist Congress Party alliances in Maharashtra is facing trouble accommodating smaller allies. The situation gets worse for the Congress NCP as Prakash Ambedkar, the president of the Baripa Bahujan Mahasangh, said that all proposals for the alliance and seat sharing calls with the Congress are over. He also said that he had set a deadline of 15th of March for the Congress to take a final decision over forming a grand alliance. In a similar worrying sign for the Congress, Raju Shetty of the SSS, a regional party in Maharashtra, said that Congress and NCP are not making serious efforts towards alliance, and hence he has cancelled any seat sharing plan with them.
हम तैयार हैं। पिछले 2 साल से हमने 15 जगह पे चुनाव लड़ने की तैयारी की है। हमारे पास कैंडिडेट तैयार है, लिस्ट पूरी तैयार है। उसी का जायज़ा हमने अभी कोर कमेटी की मीटिंग लेकर लिया। अब हम अपनी लिस्ट लेकर चुनाव को सामने जाएंगे। कुछ ना कुछ छोड़ना चाहिए, अगर गंभीरता से कोशिश करनी चाहिए, अगर नहीं करेंगे तो सबका नुकसान हो जाएगा।
And the Election Commission has set up a high-level committee to prevent use of illegal money in the upcoming Lok Sabha election. The committee has former CBI chief and current DG of Bureau of Civil Aviation Security, Rakesh Asthana, the DGs of BSF, CRPF, CISF and SSB and others as invited members. The first meeting of the committee will be held on 15th of March. Chief Election Commissioner and senior officials of the poll panel will also attend this meeting. And Congress President Rahul Gandhi is in Chennai to kick-start his party's campaign in Tamil Nadu. DMK President M.K. Stalin, whose party has staged a pre-poll alliance with the Congress party for the Lok Sabha elections, and other alliance leaders will also share the stage with the leader at a public rally later today. And earlier addressing students in Chennai, Rahul Gandhi said that one cannot have negative and fearful atmosphere as it directly affects the country's economy. He also said that the Congress will change the mood of the country and make people feel happy and empowered.
You can't have a negative, fearful atmosphere in the country. You can't have an atmosphere of discrimination in the country and then expect economic growth. Economic growth is directly related to the mood of the country. So the first thing we would do is we would change the mood of the country. We would move the country to a place where people feel empowered, happy, and to a place where people relate with each other in a pleasant, loving way. That's the first thing we do.
And the BJP will be releasing its election manifesto later this week. The party has said that it will take into account lakhs of suggestions that have been sent by the people.
Home Minister Rajnath Singh on Tuesday chaired a meeting of the party's top leaders to frame the election manifesto. Member of the BJP Manifesto Committee, Sanjay Paswan, said it will be based on over 20 lakh suggestions received from the common people.
लगभग 700 जगहों पे हम लोगों ने मीटिंग किया है और ये बड़े उत्साहवर्धक हमारे लिए है कि नौजवानों ने, महिलाओं ने, लेबर ने, वर्कर्स ने, एम्प्लॉय ने आगे बढ़ करके 20 लाख से भी अधिक सलाह दिए हैं हम लोगों को और फीडबैक दिए हैं। उन तमाम फीडबैक का प्रोसेसिंग हम लोग कर रहे हैं और उस प्रोसेसिंग के बाद से हम चाहेंगे कि उसमें जो चीज़ छूटे है उसको शामिल किया जाएगा हम लोग। तो कुल मिलाकर हम लोग ये इस बात में कामयाब अभी तक हुए हैं कि पार्टी मैनिफेस्टो को हम लोगों ने पहली बार पीपुल मैनिफेस्टो या पीपुल विजन डॉक्यूमेंट हम बना रहे हैं।
The BJP manifesto will focus on developmental schemes and farmer welfare. It is also expected to mention Section 370 and building the Ram Temple through the judicial process. Sanjay Paswan said the government's tough action on terror and Naxalism will also be part of the election manifesto.
कॉन्फिडेंस CBMs का भी और CTMs का भी जो काउंटर टेररिज्म मेजर्स है, खासकर राजनाथ सिंह जी ने इस टर्म को ईजाद किया है, तो ये CTM करके हम लोग करेंगे कि कैसे टेररिज्म को काउंटर किया जाए, ये एक बड़ा सवाल है। और उसके लिए हम लोग चाहे इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी का मामला हो, LWE का लेफ्ट विंग एक्सट्रीमिज्म का, या हमारे बाहर के जो क्रॉस बॉर्डर जो टेररिस्ट हैं उनका हो, उस पर हम लोग पूरा एक इफेक्टिव ये कह सकते हैं कि एक विजन डॉक्यूमेंट में हम लोग शामिल कर रहे हैं और जनता में ले जाएंगे और जनता का उस पर हम लोग चाहेंगे जनता का समर्थन सहयोग भी मिले हमको।
In 2014, the BJP released a 52-page manifesto that spoke about good governance and Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. It also promised to combat terrorism effectively, uproot corruption and also bring down inflation. Seeking a second term, the BJP says the centre has fulfilled most of the promises it made in the last elections. With inputs from Panchanan Mishra, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Those were all the news related to Lok Sabha elections, and right now we'll take a very short break. News and updates continue on the other side. Stay tuned.
India needs about 1 million jobs per month. Are all these jobs going to come through the startup?
We need to take the Prime Minister's vision of a digital India, of which startups, education, healthcare, and the environment all feed toward a common end goal.
Startups will be the order of the day.
Yes.
What is going to happen to the large companies which are already existing?
Large companies, for the first time, have to not just do business with startups, they have to actually partner with them in a very unique way. That's been the major change in the last 2 years.
What about barriers like H-1B visas? How does one then deal with barriers like these?
So I'm a believer, strong believer in structured immigration and quality of leaders. And I'm also a huge believer in many of the people that have come out of the IITs, etc., that come to start companies in America, then come back to India as well.
Watch To The Point with American technology tycoon John Chambers, only on Rajya Sabha television.
Welcome back after the break. After ordering immediate ban on Boeing 737 MAX, the Directorate General of Civil Aviation, or the DGCA, has extended the timeline, allowing all the airlines to ground the aircraft by 4 p.m. today. The timeline was extended keeping in mind the situations of international flights as well as the positioning of the aircraft at maintenance facilities. The Civil Aviation Ministry tweeted in continuation to the decision of the DGCA to ground the B737 MAX operations. The operations will stop from and to all the Indian airports. Additionally, no B737 MAX aircraft will be allowed to enter or transit the Indian airspace effective 1600 hours Indian Standard Time. The decision to ground the aircraft comes days after an Ethiopian Airlines crash killed 157 people, including 4 Indians. The Civil Aviation Ministry said on Monday that the planes will stay grounded till appropriate modifications and safety measures are undertaken to ensure their safe operations. And the Civil Aviation Secretary also has called an emergency meeting of all airlines at 4 p.m. today in the national capital. Civil Aviation Minister Suresh Prabhu had tweeted this yesterday, saying that the emergency meeting with all the airlines was to prepare a contingency plan to avoid inconvenience to passengers. He said that while passenger safety is a zero-tolerance issue, efforts are underway to minimize the impact on passenger movement as their convenience is important. The DGCA had on Monday ordered additional maintenance checks for the planes, but it had stopped short of ordering their grounding. Currently, SpiceJet and Jet Airways operate 737 MAX 8. SpiceJet has 13 of the Model 8 variant in its fleet, while Jet Airways has 5 such aircraft. Many countries, including South Korea, Singapore and China, have grounded the jets following the second fatal accident of the aircraft in just 5 months. In October last year, a Lion Air plane crashed into the sea off the Indonesian capital, Jakarta, 13 minutes after takeoff, killing all 189 people on board. And Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu has said that India needs to be knowledge-centric and technology-driven to play an increasing role in global economy. Addressing a function at a private engineering college in Chennai today, the Vice President said that India should promote the culture of innovation and technology-based entrepreneurship to seize the current opportunities in the world.
You go through the report of World Bank, World Economic Forum, International Monetary Fund, Asian Development Bank, Moody's ratings, not Modi's ratings, Moody's ratings. Everybody is saying India has the move. If India moves in this direction with this speed, with these reforms, in the coming 10 years, India will become the third largest economy in the world.
And on to the other big story of the day. The United Nations Human Security Council will take a decision on listing Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar as a global terrorist in a meeting in Geneva today. The US, the UK and France had moved a proposal at the United Nations Security Council after the Pulwama terror attack to designate Masood Azhar, the chief of Jaish-e-Mohammed, which claimed responsibility for the terror attack, as a global terrorist. While India has reached out to several member nations for support, the final decision in this regard will come from China, which has blocked such moves thrice in the past. Since 2001, when the Jaish-e-Mohammed was first listed as an entity, to 2008 in the wake of the 26/11 attacks in Mumbai, to 2016 after the Pathankot air base attack, the UNSC has failed to put Azhar on its banned list, mainly due to the opposition from China. Meanwhile, China is yet to announce its stand on the resolution this time. Meanwhile, the US has said that China's opposition against Jaish chief Masood Azhar at the UNHRC counters the mutual interest in achieving regional stability and peace. The US State Department Deputy Spokesperson Robert Palladino also said that Azhar must be designated as a global terrorist by the United Nations. And India has also slammed Pakistan at the 40th session of the United Nations Human Rights Council for its support to terrorism in Geneva. Exercising its right to respond at the UNHRC meeting, India raised the issue of Pakistan-sponsored terrorism and also responded to the allegations of human rights violations in the Kashmir Valley. In her statement, First Secretary at India's permanent mission to the United Nations, Mini Devi Kumar, raised the Pulwama terror attack and said that despite its public commitment in January 2004 not to allow its soil or territory under its control for terrorism against India, Pakistan continues supporting terror attacks against India, the latest being the Pulwama terror attack last month. Also hitting out at Pakistan for providing safe havens to terrorists such as Masood Azhar, she said that it is publicly known that UN-designated terror organization Jaish-e-Mohammed is being used as an instrument of state policy by Pakistani military or political leadership, as admitted by Pakistan's former National Security Advisor Durrani as well as General Pervez Musharraf. And responding to Pakistan's allegations of human rights violations in Jammu and Kashmir, Kumar said that India is a secular state and safeguarding the rights of minorities forms an essential core of our policy. While minority in Pakistan face blasphemy laws, systemic persecution, discrimination, denial of basic rights and freedoms, enforced disappearances and killings. She further added that Pakistan today stands out as the country having more cases of blasphemy than the rest of the world put together in the past few years.
We regret Pakistan's misuse of the Council for its ritual of breaking up malicious propaganda against India. India strongly rejects any attempt to revive the so-called motivated report of the OHCHR that reflected individual malice and prejudice. That matters that need to be addressed are Pakistan's illegal occupation of a part of the Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir and the continued suffering of the people of Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, who are victims of sectarian conflict, systemic army persecution, violence, terrorism, extreme economic hardships, discriminatory policies, and denial of even basic rights. Pakistan is known to the international community for its acts of aggressions, harboring safe havens for terrorists, military courts trying civilians, harassment of minorities through blasphemy law, forced conversions and marriages of minorities, suppression of political dissidents and legitimate criticism in Sindh, Baluchistan and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, mass cases of enforced disappearances in northwestern Pakistan, state-sponsored extreme prejudices, religious intolerance and attacks on Muslim minorities such as Shias, Ahmadiyas, Ismailiyas and Hazaras. Jammu and Kashmir is an integral part of India. Pakistan wrecked the UN resolutions by violating its own obligations to first vacate the territories under its control. Pakistan is reminded again that the principle of self-determination is applicable to colonial territories and cannot be misused an instrument to erode territorial integrity and sovereignty of any member states. Pakistan's continued support to cross-border terrorism is the main challenge to protecting the human rights of our citizens in the Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir. The confirmation of using UN-proscribed terror organizations, Jaish-e-Mohammed, as an instrument of state policy by Pakistani military and political leadership is already in public domain. Pakistan's former National Security Advisor Durrani, former Army Chief and President of Pakistan General Pervez Musharraf had already admitted Pakistani complicity in creating disturbances in the Indian state of Jammu and Kashmir. General Musharraf has admitted that the Jaish-e-Mohammed chief Masood Azhar carried out terror attacks in India on the instructions of the Inter-Services Intelligence of Pakistan. Its current foreign minister has reaffirmed the presence of Jaish-e-Mohammed chief in its soil. Pakistan's same democracy, rule of law and human rights have been witnessed by the international community. Pakistan would do well to introspect to reform its so-called democratic institutions and eliminate the deep states.
And clarifying last year's order on police reforms, the Supreme Court today said that only officers who have a minimum of a 6 months tenure left in service should be considered for the post of Director General of Police. A bench headed by Chief Justice Ranjan Gogoi said that the recommendation for the post of DGP by the UPSC and preparation of the panel should be purely on the basis of merit. The court had in July last year passed a slew of directions on police reforms and had restrained all the states and union territories from appointing any police officer as acting DGP to avoid favoritism and nepotism in such high-level appointments. The top international focus, Theresa May's EU withdrawal deal, has been rejected by British MPs by an overwhelming majority for a second time with just 17 days to go for Brexit. The MPs voted down the Prime Minister's deal by 149, a smaller margin than when they had rejected it in January this year. The Prime Minister had made a last-minute appeal to the MPs to back her deal after she had secured legal assurances on the Irish backstop issue from the EU, but to no avail. Now, May said that MPs will now get to vote on whether the UK should leave the European Union without a deal, and if that also fails, on whether Brexit should be delayed. Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn once again pressed for a general election and for the Labour Party to be given that opportunity to take over the negotiations with the EU. The party has continued to stop short of calling for a second referendum. And European Commission President Donald Tusk expressed his regret at the result of the vote and said that the EU had done everything possible to reach an agreement.
But, Mr. Speaker, I would like to set out briefly how the government means to proceed. 2 weeks ago, I made a series of commitments from this dispatch box regarding the steps we would take in the event that this House rejected the deal on offer. I stand by those commitments in full. Therefore, tonight we will table a motion for debate tomorrow to test whether the House supports leaving the European Union without a deal on the 29th of March. The Leader of the House will shortly make an emergency business statement confirming the change to tomorrow's business. This is an issue of grave importance for the future of our country.
And in cricket, Australia has won the toss and will bat first. The fifth and the final ODI between India and Australia is being played at the Firozshah Kotla in New Delhi. Both the teams have won 2 matches each. India have made 2 changes to the playing 11, with Mohammad Shami and Ravindra Jadeja replacing KL Rahul and Yuzvendra Chahal. India and Australia have played 4 ODIs against each other at the Firozshah Kotla, with India winning 3 and Australia winning once. And that is the wrap on this edition of Midday News. Thanks for watching.